absolute pandemonium. That is what just gone down in the last hour or so for the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox non-tendered 2 players today, made 4 trades, and added 3 prospects to the 40-man roster. We're going to go through all of that, plus talk about Bo Bichette and Kyle Schwarber. This is the first trade that they made today. They traded for Tristan Gray. We're going to talk about that in today's video. But if you're excited that the Red Sox are making moves, make sure you like today's video, because this is just the start. This was just Rule 5 draft deadline day. A lot more is going to be coming. So hit that like button if you're excited that the ball is starting to finally move and the Red Sox are actually starting to make moves. As I mentioned off the top of today's show, the Red Sox made a bunch of moves today. I will say this off the top. I'm not going to go into super detail on this video. Tomorrow's video, I'm going to do a deep dive on every single player the Red Sox got back in return. So make sure you subscribe and don't miss tomorrow's video either. But I am going to give you the spark notes on today's video. The first trade that came through, the Red Sox acquired Tristan Gray from the Tampa Bay Rays in exchange for Luis Guerrero. And to make room, the Red Sox designated Nathaniel Lowe for assignment, which we expected was going to happen. So here are the trade details of the first trade that went down. Tristan Gray, a utility infielder, comes back to the Red Sox, and the Rays send Luis Guerrero to the Red Sox send Luis Guerrero to the Tampa Bay Rays. This is a low-risk, high-reward move. It's a win-win for both teams. They're both getting, players / prospects, players that have gotten little time in the majors that they could, they can make the big league roster for opening day. I think that Luis Guerrero is going to absolutely shove down in Tampa Bay. I was very high on Luis Guerrero. You guys remember back in spring training, I thought that he could be, a key part of your bullpen in 2025. He ended up not being, but I think he's going to do great in Tampa. And he didn't really have a spot on this team. But Tristan Gray, on the other hand, he could be a backup infielder for you. I mean, now in his career, he hasn't, done much. The stats are not going to jump off the page. He's only played in 47 games in the major leagues, but 634 OPS, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs, 35 Ks. Again, it's only 47 games. He's not jumping off the page, and he is really just strictly an infield depth piece. Maybe he is that backup second baseman. Maybe he fills that David Hamilton, Nick Sogard type role. He's still young. He's still going to have opportunities to get his feet under him. And it's, again, a low-risk, high-reward type trade. Again, you had already DFA'd Luis Guerrero. He just happened to be outrighted off your 40-man roster. So you're trading someone away that you didn't really even want on your 40-man anymore, and you get back a potential infield depth piece that if he doesn't work out, you just DFA him as well. So we'll see what happens. Let's see what Tristan Gray's got, and show him some love. Welcome him to the Red Sox. Spam your 10s in the comments. That is his jersey number. Show him some love. We'll see what the kid's got. Again, low risk, high reward. Those are the types of trades you make on a day when the Rule 5 deadline is. And again, that corresponding move to open up that 40-man roster spot, the Red Sox outrighted Nathaniel Lowe. We knew this was going to happen eventually. We knew he was going to get non-tendered because he was due a very big arbitration number. The Red Sox still did have his rights after trading for him this past trade, or not, they didn't trade for him this past trade deadline. They picked him up off of waivers, but they still had his rights for the next few years. But he was going to be owed a very big arbitration number, and the Red Sox, they weren't willing to pay that. So he was the move that was able to bring Tristan Gray onto the 40-man roster. Another move that the Red Sox made as well was DFAing Josh Winkowski. Like we said, today was the deadline for Rule 5, for players to be protected from the Rule 5 draft. And basically what that means is any prospect that's not on your 40-man roster after a certain amount of years has to be moved to your 40-man roster. They're put in what's called the Rule 5 draft, which means that any team could draft that. There's a specific draft order. Any team could take them. So the Red Sox had players that they were going to need to put on their 40-man roster. One of the casualties was Josh Winkowski, which we also expected to be a casualty of this deadline. And then we got the Rule 5 protectees. David Sandin, Shane Drohan, and Tyler Uberstine were all added to the 40-man roster. I think these were three names that we all assumed would be added to the 40-man roster. These are three names of players that could all crack the Major League roster for opening day. I think David Sandin has a very good shot, especially after the moves that were made today, of making the opening day roster as a piece in the bullpen. Shane Drohan and Tyler Uberstine both also could make the opening day roster. I'll go more in depth on them in a future video, but these three guys were all names that I think we all were looking out for as 40-man roster adds. And because of that, the Red Sox had to make a bunch of moves. And again, I'm going to go through these quickly. I'm going to do a full deep dive on all of the trades in tomorrow's video. So make sure you subscribe and make sure you come back for that video. It's just these all came in so quickly, so we just want to get the video out as quickly as possible. So the first trade that went down, Bob Nightingale had it. The Boston Red Sox are trading Chris Murphy to the Chicago White Sox. Obviously, Chris Murphy was a pretty key piece in the Red Sox bullpen. He had dealt with some injuries at some points throughout his career, but he was a guy that, went into garbage time a lot of times in 8 innings. And he also had a few, high-profile appearances as well. And, he had some highs, he had some lows, but he was a good dude that I think, he was a valuable member of the team. And in return, Tyler Milliken had the return. Ronnie Hernandez was brought back from the Chicago White Sox, entering his age 21 season in 2026, 82 games in single A. So he's not going to crack the big league roster anytime soon, but it's depth to the system. And Chris Murphy is off the 40-man, which adds another spot in the 40-man roster. The Red Sox were not done, though. They made another trade, the third trade of the day. They received utility man Braden Ward from the Colorado Rockies. This one surprised me, for Brennan Bernardino, who was Mr. Reliable in the Red Sox bullpen this past year. It felt like every single game he would trot out of the bullpen for Boston. So yeah, that was probably the most surprising one, in my opinion, that Bernie got traded. Because, again, he was Mr. Reliable. He was an absolute warrior for the Red Sox in 2025. They would not be where they ended up without him. But they get back Braden Ward, 16th round pick in 2021, mediocre stretch in Double-A in 2025, ripped the cover off the ball in Triple-A with a 906 OPS and 163 plate appearances. So, utility depth in Triple-A, we'll see what the kid's got. Again, Brennan Bernardino, that's probably the most surprising trade of the day, in my opinion. But again, that opens up another 40-man roster spot to protect one of the players that got protected. And then the final trade of the day. The Red Sox traded Alex Hoppe. Please forgive me if I mispronounce this. Who was at risk of being part of the Rule 5 draft. They ended up trading him to the Mariners for catcher/first baseman Luke Heyman. Heyman was a 14th round pick last summer. Has not made his professional debut yet, but he slashed 975 OPS in 49 games for the Florida Gators in 2025. Those are all the moves that happened today. Like I said, in tomorrow's video, I'm going to do a full deep dive of every single player that the Red Sox got back in return. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're back for tomorrow's video. All right, 2 more stories to talk about, and then we're going to get on out of here. John Morosi was on MLB Network today, and he is reporting that the Red Sox have officially checked in on Kyle Schwarber. Here is what John Morosi had to say on MLB Network. This is 2 quotes that I added together, so just some context. I can confirm this, that yes, the Red Sox have checked in on Schwarber. They checked in with his camp. The Red Sox are well set up to get Alonso or Bregman, but I would add Schwarber to that conversation too. My understanding is that Kyle really enjoyed his time in Boston. We had the report come out a few days ago, and I am going to continue to say till the end of time, the Sox are going to be a big player for Kyle Schwarber. Do I think they're the favorite? I don't think so. If I had to make a prediction right now, I do think he stays in Philadelphia with the Phillies, but that does not mean that the Red Sox are not going to be involved, and they should be. They should be. 56 home runs last year. Absolutely fantastic. 132 RBIs. That's insane. A 928 OPS. I don't love the strikeouts. I don't love that he really is kind of home run or bust, but I'd still love to have him on the team. Now, you all know my preference. I did a video about this a few days ago. I still think Pete Alonso offers you more versatility because when you bring in Schwarber, he's just going to be your DH. and he offers you no flexibility elsewhere. I had someone in the comments the other day say, "Oh, he also plays left. He also plays here." No, Schwarber's a DH now. Schwarber is a DH. He's not playing. If you bring him in, he's not playing in the field. I'm telling you that right now. That's not going to happen. So while Alonso has regressed a little bit defensively, he still offers you a little bit more of that versatility than Schwarber would. And so I'd still go with Pete Alonso, but Schwarber would be a lot of fun, though, at Fenway. He'd hit a bunch of home runs, and it would be absolutely electric. But you guys let me know. I asked you guys this question a few days ago. I want to hear from you again. Pick a player. Who would you rather sign? PA for Pete Alonso, KS for Kyle Schwarber, excuse me. You guys know where I stand. I'm drinking the Pete Alonso Kool-Aid. I would love to have him in a Red Sox uniform, but Kyle Schwarber would be a pretty cool ad as well. Are the Sox in on Bo Bichette? Rob Bradford put out an article this morning reporting that the Red Sox are indeed interested in Bo Bichette. Here is what he had to say in the article. He said, according to multiple sources, another name should be added to the Red Sox target list, Bo Bichette. The Red Sox have shown interest in the 27-year-old infielder who would certainly fit the bill when it comes to an impactful right-handed bat that can hit in the top 4 spots of the Red Sox batting order. So my biggest take on Bichette, and I said this probably a week or so ago as well when we spoke about Bichette last, if you cannot re-sign Alex Bregman, you should throw a bag at Bo Bichette. I think it's a contingency plan. I would not make this my first move. This would be the contingency plan if Alex Bregman goes elsewhere. I don't think Bregman's going to go elsewhere, but you should definitely throw the bag at Bichette if Bregman ends up on another team. Now, Bichette had some injuries at the end of this past season, did not play at all in the postseason until the World Series, but when he played, he was damn good. He was hitting .311. I love to see a .311 batting average, but he also had an OPS of 840, 18 home runs, 94 RBIs. He would be a fantastic. And also, I added strikeouts on this, only 91 strikeouts. That may seem like a lot, but in the entirety of a season, that's a pretty good K rate, honestly, in my opinion. Only 91 Ks. I'm a big fan of that. And he hits well at Fenway, too. Tyler Milliken's been an absolute workhorse today, so shout out to him. He's been aggregating absolutely everything today. He had this tweet about Bo Bichette at Fenway in his career. In 157 plate appearances, he has slashed .329, .382, .524 with a .907 OPS, 6 homers, 10 doubles, 30 RBIs, a .149 WRC+. I would take that in an absolute heartbeat. And further, Bichette's connection with the Red Sox actually goes deeper than a lot of us thought it did. Rob Bradford had this interesting nugget on Bichette's connection to the Red Sox. Toronto's 2026 second-round pick also has a connection to the Red Sox front office. The Blue Jays signed current Red Sox chief baseball officer Craig Breslow to a minor league contract in 2018, in part so that the pitcher could work with the Blue Jays group of perceived young stars, Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., and Cavan Biggio. I think the Red Sox could be a big player for Bichette. I could see them being a big player for Bichette, especially with the connection to Breslow. I've said it time and time again. You need 2 bats this offseason. Alex Bregman should be one of them, and then Pete Alonso or Kyle Schwarber. You're not going to get better with just 1 bat. If you subtract Bregman, you need to bring in 2 bats. You needed 1 more bat with Bregman on the roster. So if it's Pete Alonso and Bo Bichette, great. If it's Kyle Schwarber and Alex Bregman, great. This team needs to spend like a big league team. I think they will, and hopefully they're a big player. I get it, the interest kings, the interest kings, the interest kings. Yes, the Red Sox are always deemed as the interest kings. But like I've said time and time again, this year feels different. Breslow's talking differently than he's ever spoken before. This team is primed to make a run at the World Series. They need to put their money where their mouth is, though. And if that means going out and throwing a bag at Bo Bichette, I would do it right away. You let me know. Would you sign Bo Bichette? S for sign, P for pass. You make the call. If you're Craig Breslow, what would you do? That's where we're going to end it, guys. Thank you all so much for taking the time to watch this edition of the Red Sox Rundown. If you have not already, hit that subscribe button. Like I said, tomorrow's video, I am going to do a deep dive of every single player the Red Sox got back in return from all 4 trades they made today. I'll also give you a deep dive on the 3 players they protected in the Rule 5 draft as well, unless another move happens. If they sign Pete Alonso, then that video is going to go out the window. But if they don't, that's the video that's going to come for you guys tomorrow. So do not miss out. Hit that subscribe button. Anytime the Red Sox make a move, we make a video. Until next time, go Sox.